creating like these plans and these estimates,
Sorry guys. Don't tell the people I bought this from. Most people that are on the job hunt right now, at least as software engineers, you'll see, or web developers, you'll see like, oh, junior level position, 5 years of experience, and you're like, how is that a junior? How is that even a junior? But on top of that, there's also a lot of gatekeeping that I feel like General Assembly doesn't talk about. But I guess why would they? They're just trying to get people in the doors, I think, sometimes. And this is not just for General Assembly. I think this is across the board for all coding boot camps. But I think we're not as open about the harsh reality of the job market and finding a job, especially when they sell to you that you can, transition into tech without a degree. But I think the people / I guess, I think it's now becoming common knowledge that there's a lot of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
So I know that's the case for like software engineering, web development, and I would also say like definitely UI UX because I see it a lot on LinkedIn, but because I don't really know a lot of data scientists or data analysts or data engineers, do you feel like that has been your experience or like the experience of your cohort people?
I think the only thing that's slightly different, because it was a part-time program, a lot of the people who were in the program still had their full-time jobs. Actually, let me just see how many people it was. It was like 6 of us. So
we had 10.
It was very small. I think we started off with 8 and maybe 2 dropped out, like maybe the first couple of weeks of the program. So I think for us, we weren't, a lot of them weren't planning to leave their full-time job. They just, like I remember 2 of them in particular already worked at Amazon. They were like product managers, I believe. So they just wanted the data science background because they work with a team of data scientists and they just wanted to have that knowledge. Like, okay, this is how this works. Let me learn a little bit about the programming. So when I'm creating like these plans and these estimates,
Sorry guys. Don't tell the people I bought this from.
I was gonna say, what's their name?
I already paid for it, so what you gonna do?
Yeah. So like they just were trying to enhance their knowledge. And like I think for the rest of us, we were just like, well, like one guy, he already worked in like brewing, manufacturing, like breweries and things like that. So he wanted like to have that knowledge to like enhance his like processes and workflows and like apply data to a field that data's not typically applied to. Like how can I enhance the taste of the beer using data, and like how long should I age it or things like that. I don't know nothing about beer. But yeah, he's like, let me get this knowledge, just have some fun with it.
Yeah.
And then same thing with me too. Like I was already working like in the architecture design industry. And like, because I was already working with data, I was like, well, what are ways I can apply this to like my full-time job? So I think that might be the only difference. We weren't actually looking for jobs. So it's hard for me to speak on like what that process was like.
Okay.
But for me personally, I wanted to be immersed more in data science. That's why I left Gensler. And I think it's hard because like, as I was applying for jobs, when I was trying to leave Gensler, I wanted to like be in a junior data science role, but it's like the amount of things they required. And because like General Assembly was a part-time program, it was so high level. Like I did not know like the real deep intricacies you needed to know to be a data scientist on the job. Like a lot of those things, you have to take it one step further and start applying it by yourself on personal projects. I think also having a portfolio is really important, but it's like you're not going to get all the knowledge you need from the boot camp. You have to take extra steps, find extra resources to really enhance like your knowledge set. So
I think the same sentiments for software engineers. I think that's kind of something I discovered throughout the journey was like, they don't give you everything. They can't give you everything.
It's
they
too
just
broad.
give you enough for you to then take it and then go home or, after the boot camp, you look into it further. So, so you were saying like in terms of like the actual like job hunt and looking for a job, your cohort in general, like at least your specific cohort, weren't necessarily the type where they quit their jobs because one, it was part-time, but two, most of them it was either like they just wanted to learn for their own purposes, not necessarily to like transition.
Yes.
So you were trying to transition.
I wanted to transition.
Was there anybody else that tried to transition? Were you thinking about transitioning while you were there?
Because I remember the other girl, she sat in the front row. I remember her specifically. Like, she already knew a lot of this stuff. She worked, I think she was economist or something like that.
Okay.
So she already worked with data and a lot of those tools anyway. So I think for her too, it was just like building upon her knowledge. It wasn't like, oh, clean cut, like I know nothing about this field. So I don't think there was anybody there who was like that, like just completely brand new to data science. I think a lot of people were just either just trying to literally just one up, you know, their game at work.
Okay. And do you feel like, so I'm assuming, do they push networking as much? Like on y'all as they do? No,
I don't think so.
Really? That's
yeah, like I mean, of course they say to network, but we didn't really have networking events. We didn't really have resume critiques and all that stuff.
Oh, you did not? Really? Like for us, so like during the boot camp, we had like they obviously like most. I mean, I got in through the reason I received my first software engineering job role was because of my network. Well, it was a referral. But I mean, we even have like built into the curriculum, we have what's called outcomes for General Assembly. That's the term they use, where it's like once a week. For us, it was every Tuesday morning. We would have an outcomes coach, which is like a career coach. And we would do resumes. We would do branding statements. We would do I don't even remember. A bunch of other stuff. LinkedIn. I say I don't remember because I already had a lot of the stuff. And in grad school, I worked in career services. So I already had a resume. Right. And it was like, literally, she fixed a few things and it was cleared. So I don't remember. That's why I don't remember. But like, I guess a lot of things to prep us for the job market for once we were finished with the boot camp. You know, then we start applying to things. So you guys didn't have any of that.
No, I wasn't part of the part-time.
And then you were also in person.
We weren't. We started off in person.
Oh, you started off in person? Oh, because you graduated April.
Yeah, April 2020. So January, February. I would say half of March we were still going in person. And I want to say the last 4 weeks of our boot camp transitioned to online. Okay.
So how was that? Like
I hated it.
You hated
I hated being online.
Online?
Yeah, that's just my thing though. It's like having that dedicated time and don't mind if I do.
It's non, guys.
It is not.
Non, guys.
It's non, guys.
Non, guys.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so like I like to be in person. I like, you know, having that peer-to-peer interaction. I like having the instructor interaction. I like being able to ask questions on the spot. Like it just feels more natural to be in the classroom, especially when you're working with concepts that honestly went over my head half the time. I'm just like, you're getting into the depths of calculus and linear algebra, and I'm like, what do I really need to know? Like calculus, yeah.
In data science?
Like a lot of the metrics like that you use to judge the performance of a data science model is like based on like calculus and linear algebra.
So you actually need like math for real.
You need math. You need a lot of math. More than I thought. I happen to enjoy math, so it's not a problem.
But I didn't know it was all that. But you know, I really don't know what data. I mean, I feel like prepping and like for this and stuff, I was reading about it, but you know, in school, I hated statistics. And even when I was in grad school for bio, I considered going to epidemiology.
So you wouldn't have to do statistics?
No, I still. Well, biology they don't make us, but I took an intro to epi class at Georgia State, and I was so bored. And then they started throwing all these statistics, and the only thing I took from that was like causality is not
causation
causation is not. I don't know. I forgot. I could have recited it, but now I don't know. Causation isn't
cause for causality.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't even have a notebook. I made an A. Don't ask me how. Sema, if she's watching this, she gets so mad at me because we used to sit next to each other. I did not have a notebook for that class. But anyways, the whole point is I don't like statistics. That's
so you wouldn't like data science?
Oh no, and I didn't know. I mean, just like talking to you now, I'm hearing I like math. I'm a math girl. I've always been good at it, but statistics, it's not that I'm not good, because even in my other program, I did biostats. Hated that. So I don't think data science is in my future ever. I've always said I don't want to be a software engineer forever, but I want to be able to like
maneuver.
Like, oh, let me wake up and maybe I want to like you said, you had some Amazon people that were product managers. Now they're thinking about going to data science. So I've always said like I might eventually migrate, but nope. Not to data science. Sorry. I know that's what you want, but
it's fine. It's not for everybody.
Sorry. So you were doing like linear.
Yeah. Calculus. So he was like, we had I think 1 week where we were reviewing like machine learning and different like metrics and stuff like that. And this guy has his master's. He done probably took all the calculuses and everything. Does this every day. So he's like writing all these formulas and equations, and I'm like, it's gonna make sense one day is what I told myself. Like it's not gonna make sense today. And honestly, like you don't need to like. I think for that program, I didn't need to know the ins and outs of calculus. Now that I'm taking calculus because I'm thinking about getting my master's,
in data,
a lot of the stuff makes sense. Either data science or computer science with like a more emphasis on like AI, machine learning, things like that. So I'm kind of going between both, but computer science masters are way cheaper than data science masters.
Really? So
I've been looking at Georgia Tech. And I can get my whole master's for less than 10 grand.
Really?
Yes.
And I went to a boot camp.
Girl. So that's a heavy contender. Actually, that's like the only contender right now. I'm like, I don't have to leave Georgia. I can get my master's. I can go on campus if I want. I was like, it's a win-win.
So you did not like the online experience?
I did not like it. I love to be in person. I think once we transitioned to online, like the first week we did it, I was like, okay, it's not bad because I can multitask. I can cook dinner and do all that stuff. And then I realized I was like, no, if I was in the classroom, I would be able to have easy access to do all these things.
Right.
And I realized I wasn't paying attention, and like we were getting into the more difficult concepts by that point. So I just need that time that's uninterrupted, distraction free. So I don't think I would do an online boot camp, just for me personally.
So I feel like I echo your sentiments, kind of. I never, if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't even considered doing an online boot camp. And honestly, I was waiting it out. They told us when this first happened that it was only going to be a few months. So when I talked to you in April, and then it took me forever to pass the first assessment, or what was it called? Pre-work assessment, whatever that assessment was. Then it was like May, and I was like, I don't want to do this online. So at that point, they had told us it was only going to be a few months of COVID. They would be back to normal.
Everybody thought.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, I'll just ride this out. I'll continue working. I'll start saving, And then a year later, I'm like, oh, we're still here. And, I decided to make that rash decision. But I think sounds like... Go ahead.
I was going to ask, so you quit your job and were like, I'm about to dive into this.
Yeah. It was like a little impulsive decision. It was. I knew it was something I wanted to do, but it was like on impulse. There was just so many moving pieces that were happening at the time. I was just like, you know what? Let's just do it. And I'm glad I did. It was a rough decision, but one of the best decisions I ever made. But it sounds like maybe at the time that you started, like when you transitioned into online to where for us, they forced us to sit on Zoom. So we had to be on camera. So versus you, where you were cooking and doing other things,
No, what happened?
No, because and then if you move or turn your camera off, they're messaging. It will stop you like, hey, Denise, are you okay?
You okay? You good over
there?
there?
You keep going in.
Call you out?
Yeah. So
you're like, damn, I was just trying to use the bathroom.
They literally force you to sit on camera all day. So I guess maybe they heard of what was happening. Maybe it was happening for some people. Who knows? And so they started enforcing it. And also, the time difference between March, April to the following year, March, that I'm sure they were able to work out the kinks. Yeah. But I never thought I would enjoy an online program.
So you did enjoy it?
Oh yeah. I did. I think it was actually beneficial for me because although I thrive on classroom learning, and I think I echo your sentiments in the sense of I feel like me and you are both lifelong learners. We like learning, we enjoy learning, things like that.
I should get paid to learn at this point.
I'm getting paid.
Oh, you are?
Yes,
Trying to be in your shoes, girl.
I'm getting paid to learn right now until who knows.
So you take your
I hope my employer
certification.
doesn't see this, but y'all paying me to learn. Okay, no, I'm joking. I am getting paid to learn though, but
You're getting paid to learn, but it's gonna benefit them.
it will benefit them. It'll benefit me too. But and we'll get more into that. But I think I would have never chosen classroom. I would have definitely. I would have chosen classroom and not online, but I'm glad that I was in a way forced to do online.
Because then you would have still been waiting. Like if you're really waiting for it to go back on campus.
I think they're rolling it out now. I think they're starting to roll it out. That option. I do want to go to the General Assembly. You know, it's in Pont City Market, so I do want to go and like see it. Maybe do a tour or something. But yeah, I don't think I would have even considered it. But I'm so glad I chose online. And I guess they ironed out the kinks between your time and my time.
Yeah, it happens so fast.
It allowed me to like pigeonhole myself and conduct myself, and especially doing it full time versus part time. I also think that makes a difference.
It does.
'Cause I went full time and you were part time, so that was my job. You know, for three months. How long was your program?
12 weeks as well.
And that was part time.
Part time, twice a week.
Oh wow. Okay.
From like
So what's the full time?
6 to 10.
Do you know?
Or is it 4 hours? The full time. I think the full time is also 12 weeks. You just go every day, all day,
Ooh.
Monday through Friday.
So do you feel like you're missing something?